Hey, what's up? This is TJ, and thanks for joining me. This is the first installment of a new series of videos I'm calling Tips and Talks. In this series, I'll be discussing gear ideas and musical tips, and little observations of trends happening today. Right now, I'm going to talk about my top 12 essential and inexpensive studio tools. These small but essential tools are meant to help you manage your gear, be more efficient in your studio, and troubleshoot issues quicker. Some of these items on the list may seem obvious, but it begs the question, are you really actually using them? I'll talk about the reasons why you should and help you get better results out of your studio environment. Links to where you can get these tools are down in the video description. All the items in the videos I purchased myself. There is no prepaid promotion. Clicking the links does, however, help this channel through advertising credits. Your support is greatly appreciated. Let's get started. Number 12, dust covers. You and I and everything all around us are all made from dust, and you'd think we'd be happy to have it around. But in the case of electronics, dust can be very damaging. Plus the fact that much of it in your home and your studio is dead skin cells shedding over everything is kind of gross. Got a studio pet? Pet hair and dander are even worse. Save your gear in terms of reliability and long-term value with some dust covers. They don't need to be expensive. Simple plastic sheeting works well and it can be cut to fit. I don't recommend any kind of cloth like a towel or bed linen, as it also can shed strands of fibers into your gear. Myself, I prefer some nicer commercially made dust covers that are sized to fit the gear, and they look great here in the studio. Number 11, VESA Mounts. VESA Mounts are nothing new and they've been around for years. They're mostly used as a standard mounting tool for video monitors. In recent years, they found their way into more studios as a way to both save space and to get more usable space from small working environments. Take, for example, this UDO Super 6 desktop synthesizer. It's mounted vertically on a VESA mount stand. This allows me to get more vertical user space from my studio and have better access to the controls. I have a few synths mounted this way and also some additional small computer monitors to mirror my main screen at different viewing angles. Some of this gear has VESA mounting holes right on the back for direct mounting. Others do not have the preset holes and they're placed on VESA mounted stands. Number 10, laptop stands. I've seemed to become a bit of a hoarder when it comes to these useful tools. Like VESA mounts, laptop stands help create more usable space and improve your studio ergonomics. Tilting the gear you're using towards you just a few degrees really does help improve accessibility and the workflow. Number 9, measuring tape. This one may seem a bit odd. Maybe not measure up to this. However, if you sell older gear and install newer gear often, a measuring tape is a lifesaver. Nothing is more deflating than being excited about receiving some new piece of equipment, yes, only to find you don't have enough room for it. Admit it, we've all done it. Forgot to check the specs before ordering, that is. Using a measuring tape also is really good before ordering new cables, because that means no guesswork as to getting the right lengths that you need. Number 8, knee pads. None of us are getting any younger. If you're like me, I don't like crawling around on the floor anymore, like I did when I was a baby. Running the studio often requires you to get down on the floor for rewiring jobs and troubleshooting. A pair of knee pads save you from the aches and pains of these jobs. Number 7, headlamp. Nothing is more frustrating than not being able to see what you're doing while managing your gear. This is especially true when working in tight spaces like behind equipment racks and such. Holding a flashlight or a cell phone light on your phone never really helps much because you need to work with both hands. A headlamp is a lifesaver in these situations. Once you start using one, you'll never want to be without a headlamp. Number 6, USB cable power switch. Universal Serial Bus, or USB as it's commonly called, has become such a big part of today's studios, not only for data transmission, but also for powering your gear. Some manufacturers don't include a power switch on their gear. you know who you are. This can be problematic because you may not want to have a certain piece of gear turned on when you switch the main power on in your studio. Disconnecting and reconnecting the USB is frankly a pain in the ass and can lead to failure of the connection over time due to the wear and tear that it causes. A USB power switch is a cable and a switch that is placed between your equipment's USB connection and the regular USB cable as a way to turn things on and off. Number 5, USB Isolator. When the USB spec was first introduced way back in the year 1996, not much thought went into using it for audio applications. I say this because USB has one glaring issue regarding to using it for audio gear, and that is it does not provide protection from electrical ground loops. No big deal, for example, if you're using USB for hard drives, printers, where there isn't any audio involved. But using USB for hooking up your audio gear often leads to ground hum or higher pitch whine sounds. A USB isolator does just what the name says. It provides electrical ground isolation and thereby eliminates noise caused by USB connections. Number 4, rotating TV stands. Let's just say you've got something very big and heavy in your studio you want to record, like this guitar amp, for example. Setting up can be no fun because you may wish to wire an effects loop or a load box from the back. You may also find some controls on the back of the amp you need to reach while also working the controls on the front of the amp to get that perfect sound. Placing the amp on a rotating TV stand will make this job a whole lot easier and save your back in the process. Number 3, cable filing cabinet. Let's talk about all the different types of cable you'll likely use in your studio. You've got audio cables, power cables, USB cables, speaker cables, MIDI cables, ADAT light pipe cables, AES digital cables, RCA cables, and possibly HDMI cables if you're also working with video. Each one of these types of cables comes in various forms. For example, audio cable will have balanced tip ring sleeve and unbalanced tip sleeve connectors of differing sizes, XLR, 1/4 inch, and 1/8 inch. Power cables can be wall warts or IEC standard connectors. Don't even get me started on the different types of USB cable connectors. If you're throwing all of these into a single bin, well, you might want to get organized with a cable filing cabinet. A cable filing cabinet eliminates the tangled mess and makes it easy to grab the exact cable you need right away. It will also help your cables stay in good shape, thereby protecting the significant investment that you have in them. Number 2, cable tester. A cable tester is absolutely a must-have for any studio. It only takes a few seconds to test your cable's integrity before you put it to use. Not doing so will eventually lead to unnecessary frustration and lost studio time. If something isn't working as it should, testing the cables should be the first step in any troubleshooting. Retesting cables that have been used for long periods of time is also a good practice. Better safe than pissed off applies for cable maintenance. Number 1, label maker. Okay, you may be thinking, TJ, this top spot in your list is kind of anticlimactic. Oh, but not so, my friends. The label maker is my number 1 studio tool because when you label every cable and what it's connected to, figuring out studio problems become a much easier and quicker task. Labeling cables means you can see where long cable runs begin and end without having to trace them down and or removing the cable itself. Labeling wall warts with the name of the gear they're intended to be used with make it easy to see where they're plugged into. It helps prevent possible mismatches of voltage and or polarity. Labeling cable types as soon as they are received after purchase prevents them from being misused later and possibly damaging your gear. For example, labeling speaker cables as such prevents them from being mistaken for regular unbalanced cables. Simple things like labeling the sustain pedal and or expression pedals for your multiple keyboards is also a big help. The more stuff you add to your studio, the more you absolutely need a label maker to keep it straight. Okay, that's all I have. Thanks for checking out the video, and I hope it was helpful. If so, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel for more interesting topics to come. Links to where you can get these tools mentioned in the video are down in the description. As I said in the beginning of the video, all the items listed I purchased myself. There is no prepaid promotion. Clicking the links does help this channel through advertising credits. Thanks for watching and your support. I'll see you next time.